Uh-oh.
It's not too I think.
Big podcast money.
Let's talk about this podcast.
Let's talk about that. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About That. I'm your co-host, Tony.
And I'm Martin, and today we have no clue what to talk about.
Yes.
Basically. But
yeah, we've done them all.
Yeah, everything.
I don't know how anyone keeps podcasts going this long. I mean, there's really only about 15 episodes worth of content in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it was 16. This is the 17th, actually.
Oh, so it's 16.
Yeah, it's a bit more. I mean, there is a ton we could talk about, and people are often talking about things happening in the news and stuff going on. That would be things going on in Minnesota ain't the same going on here in my area in Canada in Norway. And actually, I do not pay much attention to that news in my small town. It's not that much going on, just some arguments down at the city hall and stuff like that. Yeah, and some small shops doing this and doing that and arguing back and forth and yeah, stuff like that. But I was thinking as I walked with a stroller here the other day about games. Now I remember I mentioned that we both did at least before when we were younger some gaming of some sort.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean we're kind of introduced to games. I mean now I'm talking about electronic games like Game Boy, PlayStation, Xbox, computers and stuff like that, not cards and Monopoly.
Yeah.
But can you remember the first time you were introduced to any kind of game console or video games of any sort?
I think, I mean, vaguely. I think the first time must have been when I was like 4 or 5 or something. I was quite young, and my cousin my cousin and his family had a Nintendo, an original Nintendo Entertainment System. We played Super Mario Brothers on it.
Yeah, of course.
The original, which I don't think was not new at the time, but it wasn't nearly as old as it is today. Let's just say.
Obviously.
Yeah, and I remember really liking that, and I remember I asked my parents for a Nintendo for Christmas that year or something like that, or asked Santa, and they said, well, it's you're probably too young to have a Nintendo. I don't think Santa brings them to kids your age, so so clearly he didn't. Santa takes a lot of his cues from the parents for some reason.
Yeah, strange thing. Strange thing.
So yeah, I think I don't remember how old I was when I finally got one. I did eventually have a Nintendo, and yeah, got the Mario Brothers, got the there's a I don't know if you even know this show. There's an old Disney show called Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
That's about the chipmunks, right?
Yeah. There's
squirrel. Yeah, because we have a
chipmunks.
total different name on it, of course. But yeah, I think I remember them. They had this kind of balloon thing.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I think we called, what was that called in Norwegian? Just maybe the Rescue Patrol or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Just of course in Norwegian though. But yeah, I remember that show. Yeah. I do.
That was one of my favorites when I was young. I loved Chip and Dale. I loved Rescue Rangers. My good childhood friend and I, we'd always pretend, and that was our pretend for a long time.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring it up is because there was a Rescue Rangers game for the original Nintendo, which was one of my favorites.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was, in some ways probably just like a cheap product or like brand tie-in. It didn't have to be a Rescue Rangers game, but it happened to be a Rescue Rangers game.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably not, but it was.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your first gaming memory?
It's quite vague. I don't know if it's which one is the first, but my uncle, he did have this kind of Game Boy console with just Tetris on, and I remember I just playing around with that, not even really understanding what's going on, when I was probably around 5, something like that. But my cousins, they had some kind of, I think it was PlayStation 1 with Crash Bandicoot on. And I just remember that this is a fox, right? Just bouncing around and doing stuff. I do not remember much, but that was probably the first thing I remember from gaming. And it was so amazing graphics and stuff like that back then in the early late 90s actually. Yeah.
Yep. Weirdly, I've had basically I've had every generation of PlayStation except for the current generation one, but I've never actually played any of the Crash Bandicoot games.
No, I've never played this myself, but I remember this one because I saw it and was kind of amazed. I wanted to do to have something like that myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now I remember the game that really got me into PlayStation. The game that I played it at a friend's house. I'm like, okay, I need to buy a PlayStation. I need to buy this game. Was the original the Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation? I don't know if you know that one.
No. What's it about?
It's like it's kind of like a stealth espionage game. I mean, but it's got a pretty it's a Hideo Kojima game, and he is sort of known for having these really very cinematic games with a lot of exposition and storytelling and stuff like that. So it was it was more than just you run around and shoot and stuff like that.
It's an great experience in the whole. Yeah. Yeah, I remember I had a quite a nice game like that. It was I think it was Mission Impossible game. It was quite good. I never managed to finish it though. It was too hard for me at the time, and I don't think it works anymore. It's quite a long time ago.
What systems did you have throughout your life?
Of course I have computer. Built it myself. I borrowed a PlayStation 1, I remember. And there was some kind of shoot. I think it was probably Grand Theft Auto 2 or 3 on that one. And when my parents saw I was kind of just driving over people and was blood over the windshield and stuff like that, I thought it was really cool and didn't think much of it. But I didn't see that game after that one. But there was a James Bond game there. It was quite cool. Yeah. But that's what I played on the PlayStation 1. After that, I actually got a PlayStation 2. Like the big box one, not the tiny one, but the big one, the first one that came, the black one.
Yeah, I got those too. So
yeah, and the Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2 series. Play them to destruction almost.
so you like the racing games? You're into those?
Yeah, I think I had like from Underground 1 and up to what's called the Pro Street or something like that. It was kind of the 6-7 games in the series I had. Yeah. I love those games.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've spent way too much time throughout the years playing video games. I mean, it is one of my, I don't even know if it's right to call it a hobby. It's more of like a vice, it's like,
yeah. I mean, for some it's a hobby. They use money and use kind of, for us, I don't think it was something you could call a hobby back then. Not for my group of people, at least. I mean, some people were definitely gaming for bros, but it wasn't really a thing. It was something you did, but you should get your ass outside and play instead.
Yeah, it's. I do think it's maybe more recent. Gaming's been around for a long time, but it has become in more recent years like part of your identity. Like,
Yeah.
it's you like people. I say I am a gamer. I don't think you. I don't know that you got that back in 1991 or something. Maybe you did, and maybe I was just too young to know about it. But
yeah, I would say you probably had those, but it was a whole different thing. I mean, I know some more, I wouldn't say professional, but more gamers, and they are not the stereotypical ones. They are hardworking guys, working as carpenters and plumbers, and doing the whole healthy diet and all that stuff. And they're gaming when they get home. They eat, they game, they sleep, they wake up, they go to work, they get home. I mean, that's kind of their style and their life. But they're really good in what they do, and your cat is trying to destroy something again.
yes, he has this issue sometimes where, like, if you pet him, sometimes cats like to flop over or move around, and he doesn't have like the awareness that he's about to fall off of something.
Oh,
So I mean, he does a little bit, but he'll just kind of roll over, and all of a sudden, he's flopping off the table, and whatever he was laying on is coming with him. So
he is kind of clumsy then. Yeah,
a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah. What's the latest game you played by yourself? Like you sat down and played for your own joy, not with your sons. And
Sure. I mean, these days, I have a nice desktop computer that I used to spend time on, but of course with the kids, and it's all the way down here in the basement. I haven't spent time down here in probably literally years, since I've really spent time in my sort of office playing on my computer. So I do a lot of like sort of like cheap, simple, almost casual games on my computer, on my laptop.
mm-hmm.
Doing some tower defense ones recently, I guess, and
Yeah.
and then I guess I've been playing on the Switch. They've got a Triangle Strategy, is what it's called, and really reminiscent of a old Final Fantasy game that I really loved called Final Fantasy Tactics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into the whole Final Fantasy series. I love that series.
I've understood that. Yeah, I mean I've never actually played any Final Fantasy. I think my gaming experience is quite narrow. I think I've not played too much stuff. I mean, it's been Medal of Honor, Grand Theft Auto, Age of Empires, and racing games, basically. That's kind of what's, and Lord of the Rings, of course. Lord of the Rings game, the Return of the King. I had that one on PlayStation 2. Have you tried the Lord of the Rings games on PlayStation?
Not those ones. I've played the more recent ones that are called like Shadow of Mordor, where it's not featuring like the characters that are in the movies, but it's set in that world and with some some of the same sort of character things. I'm not exactly sure where it falls in the whole timeline of Middle Earth, but those ones are very good. I like those a lot. And yeah, it's a fun setting to have that sort of a game in.
Sure.
Yeah.
There is so many games I haven't tried. Of course, I've been to Minecraft and stuff like that when it was brand new. I mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I haven't played that in years. But I've actually played some Age of Empires. That's probably the recent game I played.
Sure.
I love those. I remember it came with the computer my father bought. I think it was a Windows 95 or 98 or something like that. And this CD came with it, with Age of Empires 2. And it's still an amazing game. I mean, the graphics isn't anything like the ones you have today, but still, it's a strategical game, and you really have to think to play it good. And I love it. I have the Age of Empires 3 now, I think, and it hasn't changed too much. Have you ever tried any? I mean, there is several games that are like that. But,
I have played very little Age of Empires myself, I'm sorry to say.
Of course.
I think I've played a game or two now and then, but I've never owned it. I was always sort of more in the sort of Blizzard real-time strategy camp, so your Warcraft and your Starcraft. That sort of those were sort of my bread and butter growing up with the Warcraft games. Loved those. Spent a lot of time on those. It's always amazing to me though, like how some of those old games are still played today. Like you don't know. I think even maybe at the time we would have thought, oh, there'll be sequels, there'll be more of these. We'll probably never come back to these. But like, there are these classics that even with the technology at the time, as a limiting factor, they're still such classics that they still hold up to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Age of Empires, I think it kind of died out, and then it came back, and then big time. And there was people are streaming it on Twitch and stuff like that. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's become rather big now the later years. And I was quite amazed. I think, what are these kids doing playing this old game? It's and it's a whole community now. It's the same with Mario Bros. Mario games. It's
Oh yeah. Well, I speaking of like old games and stuff, I still maintain that the original Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the SNES, I think is one of the all-time best games. Like for its time, it was such an amazing game, and I still love playing it. It's also interesting though. I watch sometimes. I'm sure you've heard of speed running of games, where like need to get the fastest times, and it's interesting how that also sort of breathes life into some old games.
Yeah, I tried to speed run this old game because no one has played it for 20 years. It's
well, yeah, like the original Mario is one of the most speed run. I don't know what's the past tense of speed run? I guess
it's your language, not mine.
I know. It's like the past tense of run is ran, but speed ran sounds weird. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. But we catch the drift.
It is a game that people speed run a lot. There we go.
Yeah.
Present tense. Fixed it.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, you can just Google speedrun Mario, and that's probably what comes up immediately.
Well, and also as sort of a technically minded individual, I also think they often will take advantage of like glitches and stuff like that. And like the explanations of why these glitches occur are fascinating to me. I love it. Like there's so many like interesting reasons that glitches occur involving like, well, it was programmed that, when you go down the pipe, it based on the coordinates, it puts you in a different screen. And like there's one where it's like if you get it like pixel perfect, you trick the pipe into going to the previous like vine that was supposed to take you up, and that's shaves off like 2 seconds or something. And it's like these incredible techniques that shave off a second, 2 seconds. But
yeah.
In those highly competitive speedrun categories, yeah.
Have you ever discovered a glitch yourself you weren't aware of in any game or in real life, for that matter?
I a couple times. I mean, nothing. No like speed run type glitches, but in modern games especially, there just tend to be a lot of little things. Although I actually posted a couple that I'd seen to YouTube where in like Assassin's Creed, when I was playing through that recently, that had a couple sort of interesting graphical glitches where they're just funny to me. I mean,
yeah.
I love video game glitches. They my wife doesn't fully understand why I think they're so funny. But there's something to me about like, especially like if you've got like a cut scene or something like that, where there's this ridiculous glitch going on, and everyone in the scene is just acting like it's normal and whatever. You know, I just
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, it's
Elder Scrolls. I think Elder Scrolls is quite good at making those glitches. I mean, I had the Morrowind. I think was Elder Scrolls 3.
oh sure.
And I've seen the game was, you saw it was kind of bad graphics, but it was kind of huge game. But when I see videos from Skyrim and the newer, the same glitches are present
Yeah.
in the newer games. It's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
copy paste on the movements of the figures. It's
Yeah, the Bethesda is notorious for releasing extremely buggy games, which partially get patched and partially the fans fix for them. Like
yeah, I mean
creating
it
mods
is
to
what
fix
it
them.
is. It's yeah. Oh, I remember I was playing Need for Speed. I can't remember which one it was.
Mhm.
One where you can roam in the free world. I think it was one with the cops in it too. That doesn't matter. There was this tunnel. I mean, you couldn't free roam in 2-player mode, but there was this one race you could take, and you could drive down this tunnel like under a building. When you came up, you were outside of the race. So if you drove through that one, you were out of the race, and you could free roam the whole world.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was this barricades kind of like so you can drive off the course. But if you drove through that building and you were outside of the map, and you could free roam the whole world. And me and my sister, we did that quite a lot. It was kind of awesome, just be able to free roam and driving and being foolish. I can't really understand why we did it, but it was fun at the time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's also been kind of fun in recent years. You know, my Vincent has been getting old enough to start getting into games, and that's something that I think will be like from the day he was born. I thought like that'll be fun. Someday he'll be old enough, and that maybe he'll want to play games with me or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe not when he's a teenager because clearly I won't be cool when he's a teenager, but before and after that.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to play some car games with my father, but hey,
Yeah.
it's not realistic. I can't drive this.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is like, you know, for a long time I think people thought it was like an age thing, like, oh, you grow up and then you won't play video games anymore or things like that. But I think it's really more of a generational thing than anything else, is, you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
those of us who grew up with video games who liked them. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't still include them in our lives to some extent, that as long as
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's if you still find joy in it, of course you would continue doing it. Was there
sorry.
any noise behind you?
Oh, I
You
just
look
know if you
startled.
could. Yeah, I didn't know if you could hear my 2-year-old crying upstairs.
No, I just heard some screaming and that's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, kids. Your 2-year-old, is he gaming something? Or is he just
No,
nothing?
not so
No,
much.
no.
He'll
That's
sometimes
good.
watch Vincent play like Minecraft or something, but
Yeah. I mean, we tried to avoid getting the tablet or the iPad to our daughter as long as
Mhm.
possible, but
Yeah.
at some time you just, it's especially in the long run and when there's long periods of time they have to wait. And I mean,
Mhm.
we just had to sit and wait, but there is a different generation and we are not our parents. So we
Mhm.
just, yeah, we introduced it and we're kind of strict, I guess, but it's nice to have have that one as
Mhm.
as a thing. She's not too much into gaming yet, but probably will sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone most kids, I think, will like some game at some point.
Yeah, probably.
know.
I mean, I think my wife had a PlayStation 2. Can't remember. I still have my PlayStation 2, but I do not have any controller that works. They're all jammed or something like that. So we would need new controllers or something. So
Sure.
yeah, but that's that. I do not see that as a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
we do not have a gaming console. It's a huge problem. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, especially having a full-time job and 2 children, it's tough to find the time to sit down and just, play on a console.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not prioritized.
Mm. My phone has gotten a lot of mileage just like playing little games here and there because, you're sitting and waiting for one of the kids to fall asleep or something like that. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
guess I'm going to play a little game on my phone or,
Yeah.
waiting for them to do something. Oh, I got a couple minutes. I'll play this thing while I'm waiting.
Yeah. And it's not because you're hooked to the phone. It's because you it's kind of for me at least, it's kind of getting a little bit of me time, just emptying my head and just not focused, but doing something that do not need focus at all. And but it's kind of dangerous because you could easily get addicted to it. It's yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think I'm at that stage, luckily.
Nah, no.
But yes, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean about needing you time.
Yeah.
It's harder to come by.
Just a little 2 minutes at the time. It's yeah. Feel kind of bad when I do it, but yeah, need it.
Yep,
Need it.
everyone does, especially us introverts.
Yeah. It's kind of weird being introvert, as you say. Here we're talking to basically the whole world if they want to, and people might not understand that, but it's easier because now I'm not talking to the whole world. I'm talking to you, and sometimes I get reminded that I'm talking, and I'm going to publish this, upload it to X platforms, and people will even see me now. And yeah, but I try not to think too much about that.
I just tell myself no one's going to listen to us yammer on anyway.
Yeah, well, we actually gained a lot of viewers, listeners the recent weeks. Norway ain't the second largest listen base we have. It's actually UK. Yeah, Bangladesh, Nepal. I mean, there is New Zealand, Australia too. It's all over the world. Is it our mascots going on?
Yes, he has found a little plastic thing, and he has at least gotten it off of the plastic lid that he was on, where it's very noisy, and he's onto the carpeted floor. But yes, he is happily batting this little plastic thing around and chasing it, and
yeah, he's
it's funny. He's such a people person or a people cat. He doesn't spend any time down here the rest of the week when none of us are down here. But like the 1 hour of the week that I'm down here recording, he's always down here playing around.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fun to be there alone. It's the same with the kids, I guess. If you went down to the basement just to do something by yourself, you needed time to do something, and Vincent or your youngest would come down. They would want to be there and play. I bet you that. But the minute you leave, they do not want to be there anymore. Even though they were playing really nice and stuff like that. So it's yeah, always fascinated by why we do as we do. Always been.
Go ahead.
I remember it actually came to my mind now. The first kind of computer I got, I was 7, 8, maybe. It was an old Macintosh from my my uncle's office. They were changing out the whole office, and my father or mother or whatever, we got this one, and it was seated in my room. It was no internet attached to it, but it had a couple of games. One racing game ish. There was this kind of, oh man, the graphic was really wild. It was so bad, but it was this kind of Super Mario game. But I guess because it's Mac and Apple, it wasn't. It wasn't something I've seen. It was just two or three pixels. It seemed like, and it was jumping up and down this the screen on. It wasn't like anything I've seen, but you could clearly see it was meant to resemble Mario. And there was shuffle. You know shuffle, yeah? Air shuffle. Air shuffle. Air hockey. Air shuffle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was called shuffle. I remember that. And you could choose the opponents, and the computer would be that one. And it was kind of this the highest level. I think it was this woman or man. It was kind of magical, and it was just shooting the one all the time. Have you seen that one?
It sounds vaguely familiar. I think I must have at some point, but I can't remember offhand. I've definitely seen games like it. Now, it's funny though, and I think we also had our first family computer was a Mac, and our second one actually, like, my parents have always kind of been about Macs. I think we've had one Windows.
I found it. Shufflepuck Cafe. It's called.
That sounds familiar.
Shufflepuck Cafe. Oh man, that was a neat game. It brings back memories, even though it's so bad. Wow. Looking at the graphics on this Shufflepuck Cafe. If anyone is interested, it's actually a gameplay video that's lasts for 30 minutes on YouTube. If anyone is interested, it's an old game. You can see it on the graphics. Shufflepuck Cafe.
Oh yes. I do. I. That's right. I think I've seen this one. I'm looking at the screenshots now. Oh yeah, that's some classic stuff. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was. It was probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I remember we used to, of course the Macintosh always was a little, at least in those days, a lot of games wouldn't work for the Mac. Like, it was, and I remember lamenting at times that we had a Mac because, there are all these cool games that I wanted to play, but of course we couldn't because we didn't have a PC.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, there were some great ones, like the Glider Pro, where you like are a paper airplane flying around these crazy houses and stuff. That was a fun one. We spent hours on that one. And Load Runner. That was, I remember those ones so well. Those were the days. I mean,
yeah.
I get such nostalgia just thinking about them. It's like, oh man, I didn't have to worry about anything back then. I could just play Glider Pro or Load Runner. Man.
Yeah. But then again, it's the feeling you had back then. If you tried it back now, you would probably ruin that feeling.
Yeah, certainly.
Because it was fun back then, but now you have more realistic sense of things, and things have become so much better. I've actually ruined something like that myself. listening to some old. I had this cassettes with a Disney audiobooks, and I remember those were so fantastic. And when I listened to them, and what is this? Who gave this to a child? But I had good memories from those. Yeah, that's basically my gaming history in shorts. I had this Lego game too on computer.
Oh sure, like one of the building games or one of like the adventure games.
No, it was an adventure game. Lego Island 2, I think it was called.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah, Lego Island 2. I think it was 2. Lego Island, I think. But yeah, that one, and it was some bad Disney game, Quack Attack. I remember. I was so furious. Oh, I was so furious. My dad is still kind of teasing me about that. As long as it's not Quack Attack, he says, because I was so furious. I couldn't get through the levels.
Oh man, sounds familiar. I don't remember that one, but oh yeah, the old Disney platformers were tough as nails too. But the Aladdin and Lion King, like those games back for the Super Nintendo, were I think were super tough. I mean, of course, I think they were probably designed to be quarter readers at the arcade.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many of those games that are just put in the computers that probably shouldn't be there. I just sent you the link to Quack Attack.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of good graphics, but not the best.
It's
It
like
was released in 2000. I see.
like a third-person platformer featuring Donald Duck, huh?
Yeah, you're running around being Donald Duck, trying to. I can't remember what the game was, but there was something that was stolen, and he was supposed to run, and you had that mad doctor. That mad professor, and it was. I never got through that one either. It was. I was such a bad gamer.
It's probably it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, probably. I had fun, and that's the main thing. Have fun.
Absolutely.
Whatever you do, have fun, or not whatever you do, but have fun when gaming. It's not whatever you are good or not. It's if you have fun or not, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's the whole argument that video games are wasting time, and even as someone who really likes video games, I will admit it's a little bit of a time waste. But
yeah,
I also you also have that sort of philosophy that time that you enjoyed wasting isn't wasted time.
Sure.
So
and you should rather regret something you have done than something you haven't done. So there is a lot of sayings like that. But I remember we had this thing at school. These old computers, like they made such a noise when you turn it on. I guess you remember it sounded like a whole tractor starting up when you push the button. It sounded like someone was sitting with an angle grinder inside and just jamming around. They had this when we were finished with some math project stuff. We can go into the library and have like a gaming session. Where we had these games, math games, of course, where it was kind of this when you are running and you're jumping and all falling and stuff like that. And when you got through that level, you had this math project, this math tasks you have to do, and it was such a silly game, but we had this competition in between us. I guess it was kind of a free game or something like that. Probably, yeah. But it was. I remember that one now when I'm talking about it.
Interesting. I'm not sure I know which one that is.
Oh,
I thought maybe you were going to go for Number Munchers, which was a classic educational game. Number Munchers. I have very fond memories of that.
No, it was much better graphics than this, to be honest.
And they also had, I guess I got to remember because, you're a few years younger than me. So, by the time you were in computer lab in school, the computers were better than the ones I had.
Yeah, Moth Blasters.
Moth Blast. Okay.
It
sounds familiar.
It looks familiar. Yeah, Moth Blasters. There was such a man. Yeah, I think it was Moth Blasters one. It was some alien stuff I see now. Yeah.
For sure.
They made so much weird stuff, and they still do. Do so much small games with such bad gameplay, and everything is just so bad. But people are kind of into that things are being bad. It doesn't make much sense to me.
The current ones?
Yeah, I mean they make bad games. I mean They do the best, but there's kind of the small companies making games and trying to get big, but they're getting famous because the games are so bad, and
Sure.
it doesn't make any sense. It's like the one who made the art, this banana peel or whatever it was, that sold for a couple of millions. It's ridiculous.
See, like there are some games. I don't know that they're bad games exactly, but they are not games that are friendly to the user, and they're sort of meant to be clumsy. Like I don't know if you've ever seen like Surgeon Simulator.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Yeah, some
like
of those simulators.
those are funny to me. I like those. Because
Is it like My Summer Car? Is it like that one?
My Summer Car.
My Summer Car. Yes, you're a Finnish guy trying to build a car in 1990, whatever, while your parents are on vacation, and it's so ridiculously hard to play. I've tried it, and maybe it's because I'm a bad gamer, but it's so yeah. It's become, it's on Steam and everything, but it's not finished. It states that it's not finished, and it hasn't been for years. But that's a game I like watching people play it. That's also a thing. People watching other play games.
I do. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. Like, they've done studies, and a lot of the times people get as much or more satisfaction out of watching someone good play a game than trying to play it themselves.
Yeah, and it sounds so weird. Like, I love to watch you play the game, but I mean, then people would probably think, well, why don't you play yourself? But you do not get the same satisfaction of playing the game yourself, probably.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah. There are definitely games like that where they fascinate me, and I think they're really interesting, and I probably never would play them myself because I just don't have the mental energy to devote to it.
No,
whatever it is.
I've tried such games. I mean, I saw some game and I thought, oh, that's an amazing game. It's kind of simulator, kind of adventures and stuff like that. I tried to download the demo and see, and nope, uninstall. It's too much for my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's I wonder how long that sort of trend of like, because Marine right now like people streaming playing games is a reasonably big industry. I mean, I guess I don't know how much money there is there, but I wonder how long.
Way too much.
Yeah, I wonder how long that will last. I mean, if that's going to be something that we'll see going forward, or if that's just eventually going to be sort of like a curious quirk of the early 21st century.
Yeah, like the internet.
Yeah.
They said that was going to disappear quite fast. So we never know. We never know.
Yeah.
But we're starting to hit the number 1 hour here. But gaming music, like we've talked about music before, and we talked about music in movies, and they're quite amazing. But there is so much amazing music in the background in the games that you probably haven't heard. I mean, I have this theme song of Age of Empires going back in my head all the time, and even my wife and my daughter is sometimes humming on it. And I recently discovered they have this this playlist on Spotify with the themes and all the songs and music in the. So I've listened to that the last week, and it's amazing. I didn't know that was a thing, that they actually save that. But what's your favorite game music franchise?
I mean,
thing?
I could probably spend an hour just talking about game music. I love game music. The Final Fantasy series, especially the earlier ones, up through Final Fantasy X, were all done by, in my opinion, legendary composer named Nobuo Uematsu, who his music is just amazing, and I've loved those themes for years. played I play piano, and a lot of what I like to do is try and play video game music on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, Final Fantasy, great music in that series, especially like the golden one era of it is especially like 7 through 10. FF 7 through 10 have some of the best soundtracks. Also, I'd also be remiss not to mention like really anything Koji Kondo works on. He does basically sort of Nintendo's first party game music, but particular like his particular his magnum opus, so to speak, I think is probably the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which is a legendarily good game. And yeah, no, I love video game music, and I think it's something that people don't always think about. But yeah, there's so much good game music out there. Yeah, I could literally probably just talk about the Final Fantasy series music alone for an hour or two.
Maybe you should do that one time, and I could talk about something I do. I mean, I have no clue about anything in Final Fantasy before I actually. I've probably seen some of it, but I can't say that. Oh yes, that's Final Fantasy, or this is that. I mean, it's not something I've played before, kind of. But yeah, I'm not too good at talking about one thing for long periods of time alone. I think it's I'm losing my words.
Yeah. We've been talking for like an hour. I mean, you can't have very many left.
No, I'm used them all. I have this box side. Yeah. I mean, we didn't know what to talk about at the start, but we ended up talking about gaming.
Yeah, that's a topic near and dear to my heart. So.
Yeah, it's close to me too, and it's close to most people at our age and younger, and probably older too. I mean, there are people finding gaming at not their older age when the kids are moving out and stuff like that, or maybe they're getting divorced or stuff like that and getting alone and find comfort in gaming. It's a fantastic community.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Actually, Vincent has managed to get my 73-year-old mother into Minecraft.
That's awesome.
She really like. At first it was kind of a struggle at first to get her there, but now like she's like, I need to put it away because she's been playing. She'll play too much on her own, and it'll start to strain her eyes or something. But it's you really can pick it up anytime.
Yeah, I mean, Minecraft is an amazing game actually, and you can say whatever you want about it, but it's an amazing game. You can free roam and do whatever you want. You can build amazing structures, or you can do like play the game as the story goes and try to hunt the Ender Dragon and all that stuff and do all the achievements. But you can have creative mode and big amazing buildings, and you have to use your head. It's so much math, geometry and stuff like that into it, and I think it's an amazing game. I think Notch did an amazing job making Minecraft.
Yeah, it's quite the concept, and it's sort of amazing that it took that long to happen. In some ways, like for someone to have a concept like that. But
and the graphics that's kind of something that makes it so great, I think, because it's not supposed to be super great graphics.
Yeah, you see this both in games and movies. Some of the ones that really work well are the ones that understand their medium and sort of work with that medium and don't try and be something they aren't. Like Minecraft is just, we're blocks. It's all blocks, and you can have a great game out of that. I mean, you think of, I don't know. I mean, there's been that way in a few movies as well, where it's like, well, there's these limitations to how you can do it. Well, embrace that and use those limitations, to make a better thing. And those are the ones that work really well. I feel like.
Yeah, it's the same. it's the same when you have a company, I guess. I can reflect on that. If you have a company that's doing everything, they're not good at anything, but they're mediocre at everything. But if you concentrate at one thing, this is our thing, it will be good. Eventually, it will be good. And that's the same. Minecraft focus on this. We're doing blocks, and this is our world. We can put things into that, but this is our line, and it's become great. And the same with many other games like Call of Duty and all of those games. Mario, it's stayed on track pretty much.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they're even making those games. I mean, it's a story to it, but you can choose to not do the story. It's it's a world. The gaming world, I mean, is a world. It's so big.
Well, I suppose we should start wrapping things up here.
Yeah.
As, you know,
we could just find another branch to talk about here.
oh yeah. There certainly are enough of them. But you know, as always, everyone out there, if you've got ideas for what we talk about, we came in today without anything, and luckily we stumbled upon something. If you don't give us suggestions next week, you might not be so lucky, and you'll listen to us drone on about something way more boring.
Yeah, next time we're going to talk about trees.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, what are your feelings, deciduous versus coniferous? You know. I'm sure those are English words you probably don't know. Sorry.
Yes. I would just answer yes to that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Never heard those words before. That could be another thing. Introducing new words to people. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I always love that sort of stuff. Technical stuff, the stuff like that. It's great.
Yeah.
But anyways, send us your suggestions or your questions.
Yeah. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell on YouTube, and download our podcasts and thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you feel like. Yeah. Guess that's it.
I guess that is it.
Yeah.
We'll see you all next week, hopefully.
Hopefully we will. Until next time, guys.
See you later.